to MaxMe at TheInformer. Today we are joined by a couple of really lovely young people, Gen Zs, so very much in the target audience that MaxMe is seeking to provide solutions for. And we're going to have a conversation around some of the things that are top of mind for Gen Zs and the realities that are playing out for them every single day. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Dana and Adam. Dana and Adam, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us on.
Thank you for joining. This is my first interview with two people, so this is a learning journey as well.
It's my first interview on camera ever.
Well, thank you very much for coming and joining. And today we're going to hear a bit about, I guess, what's on the minds of Gen Zs and some of the things that are going on for you guys and the things that you're observing with the people that you know and the people that you, I guess, interact with. But I do want to give you an opportunity to introduce yourselves. So Dana, how about we kick off with you?
Well, hi, I'm Dana, as you may know. I'm 25 now, so on the cusp of Gen Z, so I love to kind of put myself in that little box because I feel like Gen Z just have a bit more fun. What am I? I'm a marketing and digital marketer, so I work for a digital marketing agency. Love marketing, love brunching, love dogs, love animals.
Thanks, Dana. Adam?
I'm Adam. I'm a student. I'm a psych student, and I'm a study skills coach as well. I'm 23. Kind of love helping people develop themselves and kind of creating a safe space to learn as well is really important for me.
Thank you, guys. I mean, the vibe, the energy, it's amazing. You know, I have been so lucky to be surrounded by lots and lots of Gen Zs in the last year and a bit, and it's just been incredible. It's been an incredible learning journey, but with some things, I guess, that I have found confronting. I myself have two daughters. One is almost 19, so I'm very much in that space of worrying. Really worrying about her and her career prospects and how she can just be the best version of herself through the next period of her life. So without further ado, I wanted to talk about social media. Hope you don't mind if we start there. And certainly through the course of the work that I've done over the last little while, it's been, really eye-opening, the impact of social media and I guess the impact that it's had and is having on this younger demographic that's coming through and approaching work or already in work. But keen to hear from you, what do you think the role of social media has been for you as you've grown up? What's been your interaction with it? What's been the role of it?
Well, I'm happy to start. So basically, my role, I am a digital marketer, so I'm on social media a lot during the day. I'm kind of scared to see my screen time on it because it's been upwards of 10 hours a day, just because of work. And then obviously I finish work and I go back on social media. And growing up, it has played a huge kind of part in, what's formed my opinions, what's formed my just general life skills as well, just who I'm friends with, what I see online. It's really formed a lot about who I am to this day. And I think we need to really think about who we're interacting with online and what they're actually doing for our own self-esteem too. So growing up, I feel like everything was available on social media. Like you could learn about topics of the day, what's trending in news. You could also learn about people and learn about what they're feeling and what they're going through based off what they share online as well. I feel like that's been really big. I feel like with our entertainment as well, we're following a lot of those people and that's forming our entertainment, and we don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing because, it's all about who we're associating with and what we're learning with online. But I feel like it's really important these days to kind of look at who you're interacting with online and kind of sit back and say, am I interacting with them for a good reason or are they making me feel bad mentally? Like, am I enjoying their content? Am I enjoying what I'm doing online? Can I be spending my time better? It's a lot to think about with social media.
And I think, before we sort of hear from you, Adam, I think, Dana, just to kind of keep drilling into that point, you're sort of describing this whole universe. Like you sort of live in this universe of social media. It becomes your everything. All your information is digested through that. All of your norms are formed through that. Yet we know that in the demographic, it's got one of the highest instances of mental health issues and of this sense of perfectionism. I'm just sort of keen to explore that a little bit more with you, this sort of sense of what's right, what's good, this perfectionism. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a lot of putting on a front. I think a lot of people do put on a front on social media where they do strive for perfection. I know Instagram in particular is known for just being this perfect app where if you post anything, you need to say things on like a scripted kind of line. You need to put yourself out there. You need to modify your body. You need to edit your images. Even like lying about what you're doing during the day is very common on there, and everyone puts on this really large front to, make an impact and impress people, when we really should be very transparent on there to, I think, help each other kind of go through the norms of what is good and what is bad, rather than just producing this front of my life is perfect.
Because why? This is the thing I guess I do understand, because everybody has to do it. So when one person does it, it becomes the norm and everyone feels like I have to do it. But just this sense of I have to pretend like I'm somebody else to feel good about myself.
Yeah, it's a terrible culture. Like, I really, really dislike seeing that online. And, I have a younger sister who's 15, and for her, like, it's hard for me to see her interact with those pages that are putting on this front, because I'm like, that's not real life, that's not normal. And
you know that now, because hey, you're like her older sister and you're 25.
Yeah, well, that's it, exactly. We grew up with thinking we had to be perfect and we had to look like this way, we had to talk this way, we need to be successful like this person. And for why? And we find out that half of the stuff isn't even real of what's being posted. It's not authentic, it's not transparent. So it helped kind of guide us in a wrong direction, and then we needed to find our path back onto that right direction as well.
Lovely. Thank you, Dana. Adam?
I think I've got a very different relationship with social media. In the past couple of years, I haven't even been really on it much, especially Instagram. I had to get rid of it because I was realizing it was taking a lot of my time. Even if it wasn't a lot at once, it was little bits adding up to a lot, and it was really affecting my study. And I did some like math about if I'm spending an hour on, say, Instagram a day, and assuming I sleep about 6 to 8 hours a night, over a year it adds up to 20 days.
Oh my God, I love that you've done a maths
20
equation.
days, no, it scared me. 20 days straight online on Instagram, and I was like, do I want to spend my time like that? And I was maybe clocking up like sometimes 2 to 3 hours a day, which is like a sixth of the year, just on Instagram. And I was like, how do I want to spend my time? Do I actually need this? Do I want this? And I'm not.
Is it helping me?
Is it helping me? Exactly. And I wasn't. Like, it's fun. Yeah, it's great because you're having a good time, you're interacting and social and stuff. But like, it was really taking away from the things that I wanted to spend my time doing, which wasn't an easy thing to know as well, to know actually what I wanted to be doing as well. But that's a different thing. So yeah, I think with our generation, we're in a different position compared to the other generations, because like, coming from like the 90s into the 2000s, we were able to develop with technology and social media. Like, when Facebook came out, that was kind of new, and we were able to like grow with it, understand how to use it. And then Instagram and stuff and Twitter came out, and we like also grew and knew how to use it. But the younger generation kind of like had it all when it was at its highest peak, and they don't, I feel like they can't get out of it, especially with Snapchat as well. Like, they can't get out of it because that's just like life. Whereas, and with the older generation as well, they might not be as tech savvy to kind of know how to like manage it as well. Like, I've seen older people who as well like kind of really addicted to social media and stuff as well.
And it's addictive, right?
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
Back to Dana's point, it's almost a bit voyeuristic, right? You love to follow what other people are doing, but unfortunately, subliminally, I think what it starts to form in your mind is, am I as good as that person? And then you kind of lose yourself in that. So I think there's just this subculture of realism, I think, that plays out. And I do want to sort of guide you now to, because both of you are working, you've now entered into the sort of, you come out of the bubble, and you've got various interactions with social media, but you've come out of the bubble and now you're living in this working world. Just keen on your thoughts of how have you transitioned? What does that transition look like for you?
So from transitioning to growing up with technology into like the working environment as well, and kind of using both, or like being in sorry, I'm trying to gauge the question.
No, that's right. Being in both worlds. And what have been your reflections on how you've had to change and shift, breaking away from, I guess, what you grow up with and that sense of, is that my world? Is that who I am? Versus needing to then transition into, actually, I've got to live in this new world, which is not fully social media. You've got to turn up and talk to people. You've got to turn up and, you know, sort of be the face rather than behind the screen. What has that felt like for you?
It is a tough thing to kind of overcome, because like you're right, with social media, all of our communication is on social media these days. Like we have Messenger to talk to our friends, we have FaceTime and WhatsApp to video call people. We can express ourselves how we want to express ourselves by writing everything, scripting everything, you know, being this persona online, and it's very different in real life.
Because it's not real, right? It's sort of a way. Yeah.
It's scripted. It's not real. It's very difficult to overcome that, I think, and to communicate properly with someone, and to articulate everything you need to say as well, and even just like a simple phone call. Like I know our generation stresses so much about making phone calls these days, like to the doctors, job interviews, to clients at a workforce, to anybody involved in the business, because we're not really adept at making those phone calls and just talking off the cuff, because from social media's point of view, everything is scripted. We like to plan what to say, we know when to post things, we know what to write to friends, we have a screen to hide behind. So I think it is a really big shift going into the workforce, and kind of taking everything as it goes, and learning to communicate properly, whether it be with team members or, you know, external people.
And to be yourself, because that's the other thing that I've been talking to a lot of young folk about, is because I haven't really done the work to work out who I am, I'm kind of this persona in the world, the universe of social media, but then I actually have to turn up as myself, and who am I when I turn up? Adam, your thoughts?
As well, it's like people are afraid to be themselves because it's not scripted, it's not perfect, and they're worried they're going to be judged, I think, for that too. But my transition has been like, because I've did tutoring throughout uni, and so I've been trying to like actively do like face-to-face kind of things with people. But like even at uni, doing like presentations and standing up in front of other people, like it's terrifying for everybody. And I was concerned that like, would I ever get better at this? And just kind of the exposure of doing that, and kind of relearning and conditioning myself to learn that like, this is actually okay, this is not going to kill me. And doing that is something that's not easy but necessary, I think, to actually work in the world.
Can I pause on that just for a second, Adam? So this I think you talked about this realization that you have to keep trying at things and it's going to be okay. Did anyone help you through that? Did you feel you were well positioned with the sort of faith that it was okay, or did anyone sort of help and mentor you through that?
No one did really. There was almost this like thirst, this like need just for like someone to help, like someone tell me what to do. Like I have no idea what to do.
Yeah.
And to other people's credit, I should have asked more. I could have asked more people.
Yeah.
But I didn't. And so I actually use YouTube a lot to like listen to kind of what to be doing. I type in like best advice for 20-year-olds and stuff, and like listen to people speaking, like Jim Rohn and like Tony Robbins and like Les Brown, like all these people, just to get advice about what I should be doing, and having faith in their opinions, which has turned out well, but that also can lead down a different, darker path of like toxic positivity and stuff as well. But yeah, definitely developing these kinds of interpersonal skills with humans is something that doesn't get encouraged or even like mentioned that it's necessary, because as you were saying before, like online there's two identities almost. I found is that you're a certain person online and you're a certain person in person, and you get confused about who am I, what is my identity, especially if the real world is now online. It gets very convoluted and it's very confusing, I think, for a lot of people.
Yeah, and then if you don't have a language around what you are good at, your strengths, your weaknesses, those sorts of things, if you don't have that language, it then is just even worse. It's so hard to even know what you can anchor to. I do want to transition, if you don't mind, to the topic of, I guess what a lot of people think is a causal effect of your generation, which is entitlement. You know, this sense of the younger generation, you know, they think the world owes them something, and this concept of entitlement. I've been in the unpopular camp of saying I actually don't think entitlement at all. That's my point of view. I actually think you guys are living out kind of what you've seen and been taught, but I sort of want to hear from you around what your thoughts are on this sense of, is your generation just full of this entitlement and don't want to do the hard work?
I think it's a really interesting topic to kind of touch on because, like we mentioned before with social media, our whole kind of being and who we are is what we're interacting with online, which are these people who are presenting this really confident front. They're showcasing their wins, they're showcasing, you know, what makes their life so great, what they're doing well at. And I feel like with us, because we have so much information at our fingertips as well, like we can Google anything we're not sure of. We've grown up with this technology to really like help us through life, and I think that does come across negatively when we enter the workforce or through universities or through internships, whatever that be, because we're kind of taught to be this really confident person and act like we have everything at our fingertips to succeed in the workforce.
But then reality bites from the sounds of it, because that's not how it is.
Yeah.
You do have to do the hard yards. You've got to do things that are not great. You aren't the best at everything. I think that starts to play out. Am I right?
Yeah, you're right, because we're kind of going in blindfolded, I guess. It's hard to kind of pop yourself into that position and be vulnerable, and I think a lot of people aren't taught to be vulnerable and that it's okay and that we need to learn to communicate and ask for help. Like, I think a lot of our generation feels like, it's okay, I've got this under control.
Or at least got to pretend I got this, right?
Yeah, I'll pretend, I'll work it out later, I'll, you know, work harder, I'll do some more research, I'll do this, I'll, you know, try and play it off like you're the best and that's why you're there, and that's why these companies should keep you on their workforce as well. But in reality, like, that's not going to help us, you know, a year, 6 months, 1 month down the track even, when we get really stuck and we don't know how to get ourselves out of these situations to better ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Adam?
It's a difficult question, because I think that, like, yes, there is definitely some entitlement within our generation, but I think we're also a product of our environment, and that, like, we have been given everything because our parents wanted us to have everything and it was available for us. Like, technology's made everything very convenient, very easy to give your children, to kind of make sure that they're happy and not sad, they get what they want, to make everyone's life easier, and so they're used to that. And so when they get told no, it's like this fear of yet having the vulnerability and not wanting to take accountability for your actions and responsibility and doing all these things, and saying, okay, something's actually wrong within me, maybe I need to change and do something.
Because you don't know what that feels like. You haven't grown up with that.
Exactly.
And nobody's told you it's okay to feel that way, surely.
Yeah, exactly. And then if that happens in the real world as well, and not online, then you kind of get discouraged from doing that in the real world again, and then you revert back to online, and then you start losing those soft skills, those interpersonal skills as
right.
well. But there definitely is entitlement, and it is an issue. People just kind of need to accept that they have flaws to an extent, and that it's okay to have flaws because we are human and we're not perfect, and that we need to all just kind of put in a bit of work to do those things, and learn that the real world is not an easy place to get by in. So
Wow, you two. Thank you so much. It's been an amazing conversation. I guess I'd like to leave or part and give our audience maybe just a snippet of a call to action, a thought bubble, something that you want to leave our audience with around this topic of Gen Z.
Yeah, well, I think for me, my advice is just to people to really think about who you're interacting with online as well. Something that I've learned to, you know, pop onto my own beliefs, I guess, and what I do online is to, you know, not follow people who present this unrealistic front and follow really authentic, transparent people, you know, accounts that can help you navigate, I guess, these vulnerability moments. And I think that's really helped shape, you know, popping this into the workforce as well, and really helped when I am interacting online, because I am a social media addict. it's helped me leave the app and feeling a bit more positive rather than, you know, not so great about my time spent on social media.
Thanks, Dana. Adam?
I think it's really difficult to kind of have so much stimuli coming in from society telling you what you want, especially from advertising, from social media, all these things, and they aren't necessarily true. Like, it's really hard to know what you want, and I think it's important to spend time alone and kind of develop self-awareness and find out what you actually want, so that you can kind of have one thing to focus on, not 100 at once, which are going to not satisfy you. So yeah, just be self-aware, put in a bit of work to spend time alone, do the hard yards, and find out what you want. Yeah.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Dana. On that note, viewers, what can I say? Wow, what a way to end. Thank you for joining us. I think it's been a real eye-opening conversation around the real things that this generation are facing into. And I guess the question for all of us is, what can we do to help? What can we do to support? What can we do to sort of help them unlock this beautiful possibility that sits within them? There is so much of it. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.